Good morning. All right, so we are on lesson 14 from Unit 7. So for this first part, I want you to plot a point in each one of the quadrants. So make sure that you know Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. So you just need to simply pick a point in each one of them and then tell me what you notice about one of the 4 points that you pick. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to the second activity for lesson 14. All right, and it says write the coordinates of each point. So you have these points down here, and then you have the number or the letters out to the side. So we're going to start with A. Remember, you always go X first. So that's the X. This is the Y. So we're going to go over 4 and up 3. So 4, 3 would be how we would write that point. Remember, this is always going to be your X. That's always going to be your Y. All right, B, we go over 4 again because we're always moving right or left. But then we're going to go down to -3 because it's down further, or it's below the x-axis. C, we're going over 3, we're going to the right 3, and then we're going down 5. So that gives us -5. D is over here, so now we're going to the left 4, so it's going to be -4. Then we're going down 3, which is -3. All right, and then the last one, which is E, we're going to the left 5, and we're going up 3. Now, did you notice when I was talking about our negative numbers, I was saying we're going to the left 4, even though it's -4? Just understand that that's the absolute value. So you're moving over 4 times and then going down 3 times. Okay? All right, number 2, it says answer these questions for each pair of points. So you're going to need the paper that or the top section that we just did. So it says how are the coordinates the same, and then how are they different? How far away are they from the y-axis to the left or to the right of it? And how far away are they from the x-axis, above or below it? Okay. So for A and B, we would say, because if you look back at A and B, what's the same? The x coordinate is the same. So that'd be the first thing we'd say. They have the same x coordinate. We could say they are both 4 points or 4 units to the right of the x-axis. Y-axis, I'm sorry. And then the last thing is they're both 3 units from the x-axis. Okay? So that is what we have to do for all of them. So now they're comparing B and D. So look at B, we have 4, -3, and then we have D, -4, -3. So with this one, they both have the same y coordinate this time, because both of them are -3. Both 4 units. So both 4 units away from the y-axis and 3 units below the x-axis. Okay? All right, the last one is A and D. So A coordinates are 4, 3, and D are -4, -3. So what you should notice about these is that they are opposites. So one is 4 and then -4. One is 3, -3. Okay. They're both 4 units from y-axis and 3 units from x-axis. All right, point F has the same point as point C, except the y-coordinate has the opposite sign. So if we look at point C, we have 3, -5, and this is saying that it has the same coordinates as point C, except for the y-coordinate has the opposite sign. All right, so first and foremost, we need to make sure that we write the new coordinate down. So it would be C, and then instead of -5, we would have a +5. So let's plot point F on the coordinate plane and label it with its coordinates. So going back over here, we're going to plot 3. So 3 to the right. So F is going to go down here, and it's going to be 3, 5. So 3 to the right, 5 up, and this is F. And B says, how far away are F and C from the x-axis? All right, so we're looking. Here's our x-axis, so we go, if we wanted to know, because that's the absolute value, we're going to hop 5 times and then 5 times. So how far away are F and C from the x? They are 5 units. All right, what is the distance between F and C? Well, if F is 5 above, so this is 5, and C is 5 below, we're just going to add those two. So how far away are they? They are 10 units apart. Okay, number 4 says point G has the same coordinates as point E, except for the x coordinate is opposite. So here's E. So the x coordinate would be opposite. So here's G. So what's the opposite of -5? +5. And then the y is still the same. So you're going to go through the same process that we just did. So let me write this down here. So 5, 3. And then it says plot the point G on the coordinate plane and label it. So we're going to go 5 to the right and 3 up. And that is G. All right, it says how far away are G and E from the y-axis? So if we count 1, 2, 4, 5, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they are both 5 units. And then it says, what is the distance? Well, again, if it takes us 5 to go from E to 0, or E to the y-axis, and then 5 to go from y-axis to G, 5 plus 5 is 10. So they are 10 units apart. All right, point H has the same coordinate as point B, except it's both coordinates have opposite signs. In which quadrant is H? So if we go back to B, so H is going to be opposite of both of those. So what's the opposite of 4? Would be -4, and the opposite of -3 would be a +3. So now we need to plot that. So we're going to go 4 to the left, and we're going to go 3 up. And that's going to be H, and this is Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. Okay, so H falls in quadrant 4. Or, I'm sorry, quadrant 2. Okay. All right, the last activity that we're going to do for lesson 14 is finding distance on a coordinate plane. It says label each point with its coordinates. So we're going to start with A. So it's 1.5. I'm just going to do 1.5 or -1.5, and then it's 1, 2 up. So A, -1.5, 2. Then we're going to do B, so 1, 2, 3.5. So 3, we'll do 0.5 again, disregard that. And then 1, 2 up. So B is 3.5 and 2. All right, C, we go 3.5 over again, so 3.5. And we go 1, 2, 3 down, so -3. All right, then we're going to go to D. So that's 3, this is 4.5. I'm sorry, you go 3.5 over, and then you go 4.5 down, so that'd be -4.5. So 3.5, -4.5, and then E, you go over 1.5, so that'd be -1.5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4.5. And I do not have enough room, so I'm going to write it right underneath there. This is point E, so it is -1.5 and then -4.5. Okay, now number 2 says find the distance between each of the following pairs of points. So what is the distance between point B and C? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the distance between these is 5 units. And you just count your hops. So it's 2 to go from B to the x-axis. That's the absolute value. And then it's 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry. See, that's why you check. And then it's 1, 2, 3 to C. So it should be 3 units. Lord, it's too early this morning. So 2 plus 3 is 5. So the answer is 5 units altogether between those two. All right, points D and B. Well, if it's 5 units to go to C, just do another 1.5. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4.5 plus 2 would be 6.5 units. And just so you know how I'm getting this, I'm doing 2 plus 3, and then I did 2 plus 4.5. All right, and then point D to point E, so it'd be half, 1, 2, 3, 4, and another half, so that'd be 5 altogether. So 5 units, and I figured that out by doing half plus 4 plus half, and that gave me 5. All right, the next question says, which of the points are 5 units from negative half, 1.5, negative 3? So negative 1.5 and then negative 3 would be right here. We have to find out which point is 5 units away. Well, it's not going to be E. It could be C, and it could be A. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So A works. So 1 would be A, and then let's count C. Well, we just did that, right? We did half plus 4 plus half, which was 5. So A and C are both 5 units away from that point, from negative 1.5, 3. Which of the points are 2 units from half, negative 4.5? All right, so we're going to hop over half here, and then we're going to go down 4.5. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a half. That'd be 0.5, and that'd be negative 4.5. Okay, so we're looking for which one is 2 units away. So we can count this. So that's a half, that's 1, and that's a half. So that would be 2 units. And the other one is going to be more than 2 units. So the only point that is close, and do you guys see? Because half plus 1 plus half. So our point would be point E. Okay, so let's plot a point that is both 2.5 units from A and 9 units from E. Label that point M and write down its coordinates. Okay, so we gotta go back up here to A. So it's gotta be 2.5 units from A and 9 units from E. So we know that we actually are gonna have to go, we're gonna have to go negative, but then we're gonna have to go up, because if we do half plus 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, and then we're gonna have to go half here. So our point is actually gonna be right there. This is gonna be M, and this is gonna be negative 1.5, because it's 2 points away from A, but it's also 9 points away from E. That would be 4.5. Okay, so we can write that down. So M is negative 1.5, 4.5. All right, I will see you guys later. Bye.